Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Namaste. Welcome to Wednesday. I know it's Wednesday because it's very quiet around here. Here at Namaste Village, Wednesday is our silent day, which means we try and keep quiet in the common areas. And it's nice, actually, to walk downstairs, especially on a morning like this, because it's been raining, as you all can tell. I believe the rainy season has started. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. That's always a very nice time here. We move from the real hot season into the cool, fresh, rainy season. And everything begins to bloom and blossom. Mosquitoes start to come out more. But it is so beautiful to wake up and to feel the freshness in the air and the freshness of spirit. Everything that is moving through this beautiful community, both physically and all around the world, wherever people are joining in the experience of Namaste. You are very welcome. One quick announcement. Some of you probably saw this email already, but starting on Sunday, our session is going to be moved to 1 hour later. So usually we would have our Sunday session at noon Eastern time. We're going to start doing it at 1 Eastern time, which is noon here in Mexico. That way I can be here. I can make sure I'm here to make sure everything is set up and get things rolling. We will continue to have a unity style meeting, but we'll start an hour later. One of the reasons for that is because we're going to, when Johannes returns in a month or so, we're going to begin having a Spanish unity service here at 10 o'clock, which I think is going to be really fun for those of us who live here at Namaste. And then we'll have our English service at noon. So we figure we may as well start that now. So it'll give me a chance to get here and be able to join all of you. So once again, we'll be starting 1 hour later on Sunday. All right. We're going to begin with the daily word. This should be an interesting experience today. My wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, body, and spirit. We're going to begin by singing this as we do. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, and my spirit. See if you can join me in that. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, feel that wisdom, that light, that brightness, that radiance begin to come to life, spring into action. And as we sing these words a few more times, see if you can feel the heat of that wisdom, like a fire that's growing brighter and brighter every time we sing. Here we go. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, and my spirit. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs spirit. Hold on. Someone got unmuted here. My wisdom springs. My wisdom springs. My wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, and my spirit. Of my mind, my body, and my spirit. Wisdom springs. My wisdom springs. So today's word is wisdom. My wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, body, and spirit. I have been learning all my life. I have grown in knowledge from my education, other people, and my life's experience. As my intelligence has blossomed, so too has my body. My body works to keep me alive, and my senses give me vital input about the world around me. My mind and body are my gateway to my life of spirit, where I can rest in the awareness of God within. Together, my body, mind, and spirit harmonize and give me wisdom, a depth of understanding that comes from the integration of all aspects of my being. I am grateful for my wisdom, honed through my deepening thoughts and feelings, my actions and instincts, and awareness of my divinity. And from 1 Kings, I now do according to your word. Indeed, I give you a wise and discerning mind. No one like you has been before you, and no one like you shall arise after you. So let's sing that chant just a few more times. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, and my spirit. One more time. My wisdom springs, my wisdom springs, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, my body, and my spirit. Wisdom springs. Wisdom springs. Okay, this should be interesting. I want to begin by asking a question. And the question is that true? I see Teddy shaking his head, and I wanted to go to Teddy very quickly here. Because I know this is the common idea. This is what we want to believe. That there is a harmony between my mind, my body, my spirit, and that's where wisdom comes from. And on a certain level, all of this is true. We could find truth in this, but I know I am here, and we are all here to be truly helpful, not just to offer an idea that is comfortable, sometimes to offer an idea or a way of looking at things that is not necessarily comfortable. For example, when we say the world that you perceive is not the real world, the body that you think you live in has nothing to do with who you are, that isn't necessarily very comfortable to know that. Of course, at first you're going to reject it completely. What do you mean? I mean, that these trees, these plants, these people, they're very real. But you said the same thing last night, by the way. Do you realize that? You said the same thing last night when you were dreaming. These trees, these plants, these people are very real. Look, they're right in front of me. I can touch them. I can listen to them. I can talk to them. So once again, is this true? Or is this just another level of awakening that allows me to see that there is only one expression of the holiness of God, and it has nothing to do ultimately with my body, it has nothing to do ultimately with my mind or spirit, except for that single extension and expression of love? Is that where wisdom springs from? And then again, what's wisdom? So before I say anything else, usually I talk, and then Vicky talks, and then Teddy talks, or whoever else we have here. But I just feel like Teddy's got something to really give us today. And knowing Teddy, it may not be comfortable for some of us, but I have a feeling we're going to get a lot out of it. So Teddy, I'm going to turn it over to you. I would love to hear where you're going to take this.
Well, I could, when it says that your body gives you life, it's totally wrong. And that renders the rest of it completely incorrect. What Jesus says is you are mind, in mind, and only mind. And the body and the world the world I see has nothing to do with reality. It is of my own making and does not exist. And that includes the you who thinks you're a body in that world. Um, and that's all I can say. I know that to be true through personal experiences of the truth. Um, and it's one of the problems I've had with um, unity, sort of what unity teaches, because unity and most other teachings teach that the world is real and we are bodies, and it's just not true. There's no compromise to that. It's impossible to compromise. If your body gives you life, then you're born and die, and that's just not true. There is no such thing as death because there's no such thing as a body. There's no such thing as a world to be born into or to die out of. So if life is of the body, you have a short period of time and then you're gone and you were never here. You couldn't be, you created eternal by an eternal being. You couldn't be the son of the father of what's eternal, whole, and perfect. So there's nothing for me to say other than in my mind and my experience, it's entirely false because life is not of the body. You don't need a body to be life. There's a particular, one of the things that is not sort of recognized that is part of what the Course teaches is that, it says God has but one son, but we're all souls. And as soul, we're eternal. And there was a son who did stay home and didn't enter into separation. Now, that son never became a body. Is he not a son of God? Is he not what life is? So I don't know, if it helps to believe it. And that's one of the things that I have been shown. You know, ultimately, everyone comes to realize the truth. Wherever they start is a good place to start, as long as they don't make what other people tell them into the truth and learn to listen to the guidance from beyond as to what is true and what they are. If Helen could talk to Jesus, then life is not of the body. That's all it's doing. And if life is of the body, then the Course is entirely false. And I know that's not true. So, I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's really difficult for people to experience themselves as a body and think that the body gives you life, and to recognize that none of this is true and none of it's real. Um, but we talk about this all the time. It requires experience, and unless you're willing to continue experientially in learning, not just book learning and letting other people be true, you don't go very far. It's like being in grammar school. You learn to read and then accept what you read because the nun tells you to. And that's just not the way life and learning and experience has carried me anyway. So that's about all I can say. Anybody who thinks that life is of the body and you need a body to be alive, then they're going to fear death. Um, and if you're afraid of death, then love isn't real. That's all it's to it.
Well, this is why I wanted to start with you, because I think we need to start with that uncompromising voice. And I agree with everything that you said. And it is difficult because we want desperately to believe that this is what reality is. I desperately want to believe that there's some value in my identity. And the ultimate experience shows us that there is no value in an identity that claims to be something it is not, that claims to be important when all it really is a shadow. When the body casts a shadow upon the ground and the shadow tries to give itself some value, ultimately we're just called to turn around and face the light again and give it no value. And yet this is a very difficult teaching. And one of the things that you did say, Teddy, which I think is important, is wherever you start is great. But the experience itself, when the experience dawns upon your mind and awakens within you, this is what you're going to see, that there is no body, there is no identity that could ever claim you, that could ever keep you away from the truth of who you are, which is the perfect, holy, created child of God. Now, of course, you come at it from a very Course in Miracles perspective, as we know, and that is, uncompromising. And I love that. Unity comes at it from a different perspective, which, as we said, can be helpful, as long as you don't stop. As long as you don't stop. The way I look at it, it's like breaking through the gravitational pull of the ego. Just like a rocket ship, when it has to break free of the gravitational pull of the earth in order to break into outer space, so do we need all of this energy, all of this power and fire in order to break through the gravitational pull of the ego. The ego is always just telling you one thing: you and your limited identity and your body identity are important. And all the experience is saying is no, there is no importance there. But beyond all of that, there is a level of importance that you can't even begin to understand, that you can't even begin to conceptualize. Let's go there. But I can't do that. That's the problem. And that's why I have no problem starting with that statement. I just don't want to stop there. I don't want to think that that statement is going to give me what I really, really, really want. Because what I really want is to realize that there is no world that could ever bind me at all if I accept that experience.
I want to say this. Every established organization teaches exactly what unity teaches in one form or another. Otherwise, they would render themselves unnecessary. Because Jesus didn't come to establish a church. He came to establish that there is no death and life is eternal. And life is of God and it's not of this world. So any organization, and every organization, religious, spiritual, or otherwise, necessitates that teaching in one form or another. Otherwise, there's no need for the organization or the establishment at all. And if they want you to be a member of the establishment, they have to put what they say as being more important than what you know, so that you accept what they say and live within the established organization that they set out to maintain.
You know, I'm feeling guided to call on someone here, and that is someone who lives here at Namaste. I don't think Vicky is here right now. Is that correct?
Been on the phone for an hour with trying to sort out our internet and everything.
Okay, all right. I didn't see her, so I thought, well, but there's another voice that of clarity that I love to hear from, and that is she doesn't know I'm going to call on her, but I saw that Calico is up in her room and is here online. So Calico, I just have a feeling that there is something that is going to spring forth from within you. That's going to bring all of this together. I don't know why, but I have that feeling. So would you like to share? Are you out there, Calico?
I'm here. I'm here. And yeah, I was thinking oh, Teddy was talking. Thank you so much, Teddy. Yeah, I am a Course in Miracles student, and that's really my path. And one of the things I have learned in my experience was this process didn't even start until I started looking at my thoughts. That's where this lives. And Teddy, I just love you because Teddy, oh, I'm going to share a story. This is like 12 years ago when I was on Facebook and Teddy was on Facebook. And I said, I never commented really, but in my mind, I was saying, wow, he's really angry. That's what I said in my mind. Well, guess what? I'm projecting that. And so when I saw that that was just my projection, even though there was no communication between Teddy and I, none. But what I got in touch with, it's my anger. And that's where freedom started to really let loose. When I started dealing with all those negative thoughts in my mind that were often never spoken, they were just thought. Thoughts matter. And so when I started to really catch those thoughts and go, this is mine, this is my healing, it had nothing to do with Teddy. It had to do with me. I had some anger issues that needed to be resolved. And then the gates of heaven opened. But walking through the gates was a bumpy process because, even today, I'll be in with conversations with different people and people will say something and I'll have a thought going, well, that's bullshit. And then I immediately go to my mind and go, where's your source of information coming from? And, all those questions are just ego questions. Actually, all questions are from the ego. Because at some point you get all there is to love. And it's my lesson to learn how to do that. And that's the gift that I've given myself of taking my projections back and working with them. It's like, wow. I mean, I didn't know how angry I was. I was so angry. And I thank you, Teddy, because I didn't have to work with it with you one-on-one, but there have been many men in my healing practice that I have had to deal with it one-on-one. And they were scary conversations. I didn't want to love them. I didn't know how to love them, but I knew how to put it on the altar. Holy Spirit, let me see this person differently. Let me see them through your eyes of love. And then I just wait, and when I'd have more negative thoughts about the person, which I usually did, I'd say the same thing. And so I held myself to account for every thought I had. And the power of that, the unity prayer this morning, can you repeat that, James, the unity prayer? Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wisdom springs from the harmony of my mind, body, and spirit.
my spirit, my Christ self springs from harmony. If my mind is not in harmony and it's making something wrong, that's the key to the lock, to unlock this whole insane world that we live in. But it doesn't live in the world, it lives in my mind. And as I've done this, and I've done this a lot, and I've worked in this a lot, and it's healed, I'm healing on every thought I take into my mind, I'm healing with. I'm going to give an example of this. There was a woman I was working with that had some supposedly serious cancer issues. And she's a Course in Miracles student. And she was struggling with it. And we talked about the thoughts. And she said, wow, I've never thought that it's in my mind, that I need to address my mind. And she went in and got some really horrible news from the doctor. And she called me up and she says, I don't understand what's going on, but I've never been happier. And it's like, that's the point. It doesn't matter what the world is telling you. The world will tell you many things, many things. None of it's true, because all that is true lives in my mind. And if I am willing to see things differently, I'm healed. And what goes on after the body drops by? My mind. It doesn't go anywhere. I tell people this all the time. They say, well, I hope to see you again. Well, I'm not going anywhere. No one is. No one ever does. It's in mind. So when I have a thought come through my head of someone I love, or any thought, but I love the ones that come through that are loving thoughts, because then I just get to relish in this joy and harmony of, wow, isn't it nice to love each other like this? And I have never, this is not the way I was raised. This is not the way I've lived my life until I started the mind training with A Course in Miracles. And that was really addressing everything I was thinking. And then, I mean, truly, heaven is available right now in mind. And that's all we're talking about in A Course in Miracles. And it's the one thing I must say that keeps people from really following A Course in Miracles is, I don't want to take responsibility for all of that. That's scary. And the reality is, well, it's not that scary because it's all in mind. And it's like, all you have to do is change your mind. And then, that person that you have found so offensive becomes a love muffin. And it's like, and that's when the miracles start happening right and left. And your life just changes completely. And this is the gift that I give myself through A Course in Miracles. So I thank you. I thank you for these morning meetings. They're so wonderful for me, just to kind of get lined up again with the truth of who I am, which is just love. So thank you. Yes, I love the topic, and thank you all for being here.
Well, I had a good feeling about having you share this morning, so I'm so glad I called on you. I'll see you in a little while. I know you're right up there in your room. But this is really the deep end of the pool, guys. This is where it happens. And you could look at these two things that we're here. We're hearing the unity lesson, and we're also hearing a different perspective that we're describing as coming from A Course in Miracles. And it would be easy to say, well, they conflict. Well, they don't really. That's in my mind too. The only conflict is in my mind. But what we are saying is don't try to use the body to achieve harmony. Don't try to even use the mind that you think with, because, or the eyes that you think you see with. Just keep asking for guidance, even if what you're hearing today makes no sense at all. Just ask for guidance to see what's really there, and you will see what's really there. And it's amazing that Alice just put her hand up, because I was going to call on her next. And then after Alice, we're going to go to our altar prayers. But Alice, I was going to ask you to share. So go right ahead, dear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
It's a new computer, so I'm just trying it out. Well, when I was reading the daily word today, which I'm doing every day, thanks to your inspiration, James, the word wisdom was very important to me. Now, I look like I'm sitting here alone, but on my shoulder is the spirit of my grandmother, my Irish grandmother. And I'll tell you why. Since I was a little girl, she would say to me, Alice, when you pray, always pray for wisdom. Always pray for wisdom. You must pray for wisdom and take every experience, Alice, and pray for wisdom. And she also used to say to me, and I didn't even understand it because I was so young, but then I understood it as I got older. And you know, Alice, in Christ, all things are possible. All things are possible in Christ, you know. Do I ever know that now? There's another thing too. We're talking about the body and so-called death. She's so close, by the way. I don't know if you can see her, but she's here. We made a deal, and we were very, very close. We made a deal that she would come back to me when she left her body. And we both promised that we would be open to that. Well, about 4 or 5 hours after I heard that she left her body, the phone rang. And it was her on the phone. She said, Alice, I'm not dead. I'm just different. Don't believe them. I have not died. I'm just different. Alice, do you hear me? Do you hear me, Alice? She said, I'm not dead. I'm just different. Now, I'm bringing her in today on purpose because when I was reading the daily word today on wisdom, she came right through and she's been with me all day. And it's the afternoon our time. And when you tell a little girl, when you invite a little girl to pray for wisdom and to watch the experiences in your life and add them to the wisdom, because to me, wisdom is how we use experiences, how we use our choices, how we use our choices with the experiences we have. We can use them to fear, we can use them to love. We use them to get angry, we can use them for victimhood, we can use them for creation. But definitely wisdom is the experience. And the experiences is knowing ourselves as God knows us. That's a choice, of course, too. But my grandmother sitting on my shoulder, Alice, pray for wisdom. Pray for the experience and use your wisdom properly now. And she's still echoing that in me. And I so wanted to share that today because she's so close. And you know, she wasn't a Course in Miracles student. I wasn't then either. And she was saying the same thing. And I'll just say one more thing. I used to stay with her a lot. She was very safe. We were very, very close. And she used to tell me that Jesus used to come and visit her and tell her things. And you know, I think that, well, I don't think I know, that the words that she used to say to me when I was a little girl, I recognize now when I'm feeling very close to Jesus and talking to me. She's saying the same thing. So you can pray for wisdom and to use the experiences we have, like the adventures that you were talking about yesterday, the experiences inwardly and outwardly. And wisdom is definitely an attribute of the Christ within us. I feel that. So that's what I wanted to share today.
Wow. Thank you, Alice. I knew this was going to be a hot one today. Sometimes we need a lesson like this to just to get us moving, to get the energy flowing, so we can not just say, oh, that was sweet, that was a nice lesson. Well, let's look at it deeper and say, well, where was that off? Where was that on? Where can we go deeper? Where can we really touch the experience? And that's the only reason we're here. We're not here just to feel better and to feel sweet. We're here to enter into an experience of wholeness. And sometimes that requires everything that's happening here today. So Teddy and Alice and Calico and all of you, thank you so much. What a beautiful discussion. And now we take that into our lives, into our day, seeking wisdom, seeking harmony, not to harmonize what never was, but to harmonize with that which has always been, the truth that has always been true. So let's just tune in for a moment as we allow that truth to permeate and to penetrate. We're going to do our prayers a little bit different today. That truth can be expressed in one word sometimes, two at the most. We can keep it that simple. We often lay people on the altar who need our prayers or situations that need our prayers, but today we're just going to lay one word onto this altar. Whatever word springs into your mind that will remind you today to seek only this wisdom, the wisdom of your whole mind, the wholeness within you, the I am within you. One word. Let that spring forward now. And when it does, go ahead and write it down in the chat. And we'll use some of these words as a way to enter even more deeply into this experience. Deep gratitude and love and peace and trust, because love is, and we're experiencing the wonderment of that love, the wholeness, wisdom itself, awareness and freedom, love, love, love. Of course, forgiveness. Forgiveness of my own mind that has sought outside of itself to find something that was never really there. And I surrender to what has always been true. When I do, I feel that gratitude. I listen deeply for that deep wholeness. I am completely defenseless now as I allow all disturbances to be released in joy and acceptance and to embrace only love. To embrace only love today. This is the wisdom that we share. Let's just hold still for a few more seconds in that. You know, I said before that a lesson like this isn't always comfortable. I'm going to go even further and say that any true lesson is going to cause great discomfort to who you thought you were, to what you thought was true. So if you're feeling that, yay, go into it. Don't hold back. If there's like, I remember there was a cartoon of like a picture, maybe a photograph of a kitten holding on for dear life. And it said something, hang in there, baby. That's what it was, hang in there. Well, I don't know if for us, we should be hanging in there or just let go. Just let's drop. As Vicky always says, stop, drop, and pray. Pray for guidance. If this doesn't make any sense at all, that's okay. It doesn't make any sense at all, but just fall backwards into it, into that love. And we're just gonna keep it right there. We won't even do our final prayer today. Oh, my microphone seems to be going out. All we'll say is love, love, love. That's all we need now. So have a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Namaste.
Thank you, James. I love
Thank
you all.
Goodbye.